I want to welcome in Dr. Rotem Sivan, who's the co-founder of Mums Up 23. It's a group of thousands of parents of IDF soldiers who are calling for an end to the war. Doctor, I appreciate you being with us. We understand, I'm hoping you heard our correspondent there in Tel Aviv. He was saying that the Security Cabinet meeting has ended and nothing as of yet has come out of this. What do you think realistically will come out of this? Because as you heard from our correspondent, the ceasefire proposal that, Israel, the Israeli government had signed up to as recent as last month wasn't even being discussed.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. This is what's happening for the last year and a half. There were good proposals a year ago from Saudi Arabia, and proposals keep coming every time for ceasefires and bringing back all the hostages at once. And once again, we see the government not discussing it and turning it down, eventually, always in some excuse. They always find an excuse to turn it down. So I'm not surprised. And I think the only way to change it is to keep on staying on the street. The more people on the street, and we need millions of them to come out. This is what eventually, I think, will change their mind or go to election, whatever comes first. I must say that these numbers of 300,000 people today and 400 last week, it's huge numbers. You have to understand, it's like 10 million Americans on the streets at once. This is what it counts in Israel.
So, Doctor, may I ask you then what, our own Lieberman was asking Kobe, the Israeli protester, because we saw protests over the weekend, large protests over the weekend. We're seeing protests now. We've seen repeated protests nationwide throughout Israel. We're also hearing from some opposition leaders, in fact, from Israel. I'm just going to quote opposition leader Yair Lapid, who has said the fact that the cabinet convened today and the ministers didn't even discuss the hostage deal is yet another moral stain on the October the 7th government. I say this unequivocally to the Israeli public. There is a deal on the table. It is possible to bring the hostages home and to end the war. So let me put the same question that Oren put to the guests that we had there. What do you think will take to end the war? Because so far, these protests haven't moved Netanyahu at all.
Well, I can join his answer about President Trump, but I don't think we need to wait for President Trump. We need to keep on protesting. And unfortunately, what we also see is more and more soldiers that are refusing to go. Now, this is something we don't want to happen. It's something that is weakening us and the IDF. But unfortunately, it does happen. And something that we said it might happen later on, and we see it now. So I think it's part of the movement. It's part of the change. More and more people in Israel understand we must stop it. And the more people that will come out and say that will probably help. I think Netanyahu is worried about it. We see his response. Every time there are more people on the streets, we see his response. We see how he starting to talk about a deal. We saw it last week when he promised the families of the hostages there will be a deal, and then they canceled the protest. And then again, he went into fighting. So we see his response. I think he's bothered by the millions. I have to say that we saw it in Europe. We saw it in Poland. When there were millions on the streets, they stopped the changes in the laws. So I do believe at the end, this is what will bring us the change. And it's happening. Today I just wrote, I was riding from Tel Aviv to the north to my house through all the junctions and the bridges, and to see the thousands of people coming out, not only in Tel Aviv, but all over Israel, in the north of Israel. I got pictures from all my friends. I live not far from the border with Lebanon. And you see the people there that are suffering from a war with Lebanon for years. And still, and maybe because of that, we all understand that it must end in agreements. It must end in a deal that will bring everyone back home.
And Doctor, this expanded military offensive that Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to pursue in Gaza will require the military to bring in 60,000 more reserve troops. I know that there are some that have spoken to CNN who are declining military service, but can you give us a sense of what is being discussed? What conversations are being had between the young men and the young women who may be called up? What are they telling you? Speak to their fears and their concerns right now.
Well, I can say I speak to my son, and my friends around me speak to their sons and daughters. And what we know that on one hand, they will do everything to protect Israel. and they will stand whenever needed, but they feel this war is not protecting Israel. It's not for the safety of Israel, it's for the safety of Netanyahu. And it's very difficult for them. They will keep on going because this is, it's still a democracy and they still obey the law. But on the other hand, they're tired, they're frustrated, they lost friends. We see a lot of wounded people in body and soul, a lot of them around us, all around us. And so they are they're very tired, and they feel this war is not aiming for the goals it was meant to be. It's not for the hostages' safety. It's not for Israel's safety, and it's only, one of them told us, "I feel like they're using me as a tool in their games. They're using me as they're using our kids as human shields for the government, and it's terrible feeling for them." And we feel it, I think, in every house and every family in Israel.
So as a mother, doctor, what do you say then to if you hear that from your children, from young men, your son, and so many others? What advice do you give him?
Well, I try not to give advices to my son. They're old enough to decide for themselves, and they are, they're smart and they think for themselves. Personally, I give them any support they need. He's my son. I will support him in every decision he will make. So I give him to make the decision. But we do see others around us that ask their kids not to go. And we see soldiers that decide not to go. I think the reserve forces now are less than 50% of what there should be. So it's huge numbers. And again, it's telling us, and if there was a real war, if there will be real danger for Israel, they will all stand up just like they did in the 7th of October. So again, it's when they feel the government is using them, it's very difficult for them to go. But we all understand that we must have a strong IDF. We don't have any other options, here in the region. So it's a very big conflict.
Doctor, really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much indeed, speaking to us there live.
I just want to add.
Go ahead.
I just want to add just one little sentence. It's very important because you saw all the pictures from the streets. It's very important to say that the people of Israel wants to end the war. The people of Israel is saying yes to the deal, is saying yes to the Qatari offer and to the Saudi Arabia offers, and the government is not representing the people of Israel. And it's very, very important for us to state that to the world. Thank you.
Clearly your voices are being heard loud and clear nationwide throughout Israel. Doctor, appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much indeed.